Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance and editor for a couple years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we're shipping out today on Monday from the weekend. It was a really good weekend. My cat really wants attention right now, but we're super short on time. Even recording this, I was thinking of canceling just because we have to get stuff out. I also forgot to pick up some stuff from the storage unit because I thought the listing bin was in here from Friday and I was wrong, so I have to go back. So I'm just all frantic. But a lot of cool stuff. So the first thing right here is going to be this Connects kit. This is like an educational one. This one you're like building up little wheels and stuff with like gears. This is kind of Lego's rival Connects. Didn't do as well as Lego, but I still pick up this stuff. This is like an old thing we grabbed a bit ago. This ended up going for $13.48 plus shipping. Everything's going to be plus shipping. I'll save us the time up front. Moving along, we have this DCS. This is a diorama construction little set, 1 out of 35 scale. This is going to be a little wishing well where it has like a little lever and then like goes down and up. Really cool kit, kind of like an older thing. Never saw this DCS thing before, but I saw that they were going for like good money. I always pick up like RPG and miniature terrain and kits and stuff like that. This ended up going for $20, which is pretty solid. And I noticed on my listing, I accidentally forgot to load up all my other pictures. So I only had one picture. So I was kind of sad that I forgot that I messed it up. All right, moving along. It happens, I guess, like rarely for me, but I guess it happens. We have this board game called Body Talk. This is going to be like some kind of card game from the 1970s. Has a really cool, like interesting front. Has a cool little like side for the bookshelf piece. And then right over here, it has like different cards, like a love card right here. And then I can't see, this is Body Talk card right there. So some kind of like card game. It says the game of feeling and expression. I like to pick up like the 60s, 70s, and 80s games, especially the ones that look unique to me that I haven't seen before. This ended up going for $24.95 to a repeat buyer. All right, moving along. I'm kind of all over the place. We have a record. I hope the cat's not blocking your guys' complete view right here. We have Song by Tom Lehrer. Tom Lehrer. Oh my god, I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm super tired right now. I had no like coffee or anything right now. So we've got a bunch of free records. A bit ago, got like 4 egg crates. I was not going to deny records, even though I don't know them, and I wouldn't normally purchase records because I just know nothing about the genre at all. But yeah, we end up getting $16 for this. This is pretty good for the free ones. Getting 16. We normally get like 5, 8, 9. Like lower amounts, but it only took me a couple days to list them. All right, moving along, we have a combo order. It's Descent Journeys in the Dark 2nd Edition, or at least pieces for it. We have the threat tokens right here with the little rule book. The threat tokens are going to come into the lieutenant expansions, where the lieutenants are like little characters, like champions that the overlord can hire and use their experience points on. They also can purchase additional abilities that use these threat tokens, but when the overlord uses the threat tokens, they flip over to these fortune tokens for the heroes to use. And then they also bought 4 Barghest. Barghest are these zombie dogs. These are just like the miniatures for the game. So this is not the complete game, but this is the 2nd edition of the game. So there's 3 of the like white tan ones are going to be the regular minions, and this is a master one, the red one that has like more abilities. So they bought some threat tokens and then some Barghests. End up going $19.98. That's going to eBay international shipping. So that's pretty interesting that someone's grabbing it. They're probably just going to use the miniatures and tokens for something else. I think it's a, or maybe they like lost one of their Barghests and they need to complete the set, because I got some Descent stuff that I kind of broke up into little lots and stuff because it wasn't fully complete. All right, moving along, we have a book. This is like called, I think, like Tank Aces. Is that it? Yeah, Tank Aces by George Forty, from Blitzkrieg to the Gulf War. Hardcover military book. Got a bunch of these a bit ago. These have always done super well for us. So yeah, you can see that this is more almost like a coffee table one. This ended up going for $7.49. Got them pretty cheap. They were pretty easy to list. I don't have too many left from that, but it was a lot of books we got when we got that whole haul many years ago, way before YouTube. All right, next up is going to be a rule book for War Machine and Hordes. Hordes is going to be the fantasy version of the game, a tabletop game where you have like you have like a warlock or a warcaster, a bunch of like war beasts, and you're trying to fight off someone else on a tabletop game, kind of like a Warhammer type of game. This is the rule book for Legions of Everblight. They're kind of like the undead skeleton dragons, the scythes. They have a lot of scythes and stuff like that. So yeah, like creatures. So there you go, like Everblight's like the undead part, but yeah, they're more like dragonish and stuff, kind of. This ended up going to a repeat buyer for $9. This has all of the rules for that particular faction. You have to get to like the main rule book to learn like just the base game, how it works, and then like the factions will have their own rule books where they have all the characters, all the spells, a bunch of lore that people care about. All right, moving along, we have another skirmish miniature game book. Sorry, like I said, I'm all over the place. Eldfall Chronicles right here, core rules. Don't know anything about this one other than the front kind of has this like palace in like a water, and it kind of looks like this is kind of like floating above other stuff, and there's a bunch of like hanging things connected to other stuff, some like jungle and like lots of terrain. So probably like an interesting miniature game, probably some kind of like futuristic fantasy sci-fi post-apocalyptic type miniature game. $21 for this one, which is pretty good for like kind of like a more hipster miniature skirmish rulebook. Next up is going to be, these have been doing pretty well. I did not know if they would actually do well when I originally got them. These are metal miniature bases. They're like, I had a bunch of different sizes. I sold a couple before, so I realized that people would buy them. But yeah, this is a lot of 147. They're like 1-inch little squares. People use these bases to glue their miniatures on and then to use them on the tabletop game right there if they don't have like a base. But yeah, this ended up going for $18.71. They don't have to use it for miniatures. It could just be for any kind of craft project. They're just like square little metal bits and pieces. But because I got them with the miniatures, I was assuming that they were for miniatures. They are unbranded, or at least they don't have any maker's marks on them. So I don't know. I couldn't figure out what brand they were. All right, next up is going to be, did pretty well with some books. This is Battlefields of Europe. This is like a little, box set right here. Has the two little hardcover books inside of there. Like I said, got a bunch of the military books. People are grabbing these. Always have been for since we've started. So $15.60. I think Anetta was the first one to grab some of that stuff. I didn't think it would do well. She's usually our better sourcer and stuff, so I just kind of listen to everything she says about what she is aware of that does well. I was the one that was like, I'll list them. And then they've been still selling to this day. So always got to listen to her. Next up is going to be a lot of 24 Dungeons and Dragons. These are the miniature cards. These normally come with miniatures. It was a collectible thing where you get booster packs. You would then get the cards with the figures that would have rarities. These are just the cards. I got like 10,000 of these a long time ago. Wish I was recording and stuff at the time. It would have been a cool video. I ended up sorting them by their different sets because it's a collectible game. They have different sets. This one is going to be Night Below right there. That's like the set. It's like a little tombstone in the corner. So this is 24 of the cards, sold to a repeat buyer for $16.20. A lot of repeat buyers, but I know Anetta at some point sent out like some kind of coupon to someone that like purchased from us within the past year or two. I think she did like a 25% offer, and it also works with the combos with if we send an offer. So that might be the reason why some of these are selling. I haven't gone into the details. I was actually super busy on the weekend. I kind of just mostly ignored eBay, and Anetta was dealing with most of the offers most of the time. But when she was busy, I picked up dealing with the offers. So I kind of, a lot of this stuff is kind of like I grabbed it and I was like, oh, I didn't even know this sold. All right, next up is going to be Teed Off, another vintage board game. This is from 1972. Really cool golf game. There's some dice there. I can't remember exactly what else is in there. I have this kind of like nicely wrapped up, so I don't want to like unseal it. But yeah, I like these interesting board games. Do pretty well with them. Only $8.42 for that. Sometimes I look up these like older games, 60s, 70s, 80s, and there are a bunch of them listed. But I still think it's like cool for me to see some of the history of these games. I like board games, so I would almost play almost any board game at this point. I think the only category that kind of eventually faded for me was like those party card games where it's basically just jokes. So like Cards Against Humanity, Apples to Apples, Pick Your Poison. There's a bunch of them at this point. Once you play a couple, I feel like I've played them all, if that makes sense. All right, moving along, we have two lots of WizKids HeroClix, commons and uncommons. So right here is going to just be a bag of like, I think it's, 30 of them right here with the cards. So these ones, I had the cards. It's not a big deal if you don't have the cards. A lot of people use these for like just the miniatures. They'll pop them off the little, they're called like Oreo bases because they look like Oreos. They'll use them for other stuff. And then there's also people that use them for HeroClix. But yeah, these are also another bag of commons and stuff. So $9.36 each. So that's $18.72 for the order. They just paid separately. That's why I had to do that real quick. All right, moving along, we have Warzone Mutant Chronicles miniatures. It's going to be this like sci-fi post-apocalyptic type of miniature game. I've gotten like the books and miniatures before. I haven't gone too deep on looking up. I should one day. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, I know people like that. I know it's kind of hipster, and I know people occasionally pick it up, but they got a bunch of stuff. So they got like, it was $40, $50, $60, $70. So they picked up stuff at different times. I think I forgot to grab some of the stuff in the other room, unfortunately, because I had just listed 3 of these. So This is going to be, they all have like weird names. So I'm just going to, this just is a guy with like a gun and a sword. And then here's another character pointing. They have all these like fancy names. Like one of these guys is called Cress Sentient Brother Bound something something. It wasn't even enough to see on my screen right now. Just like weird names like that. So I don't want to go through them all. So there's one, two. Like I said, there were six. I don't see what I think the other four in the other room. All right, sorry guys, but yeah, this is the war zone right here, what it looks like in a sealed package. And then I had four of them that were just miniatures out of the box. And then this says like Mutant Chronicles right here. And I've sold some of the books before. All right, next, I think it's a skirmish game, so you use less miniatures. So it's not going to be like Warhammer where you have like a pile of miniatures. You're just going to have like a small amount. I do think it's a really cool art style. All right, my cat just is jumping up stuff. She's going crazy. All right, she has zoomies, like the dog zoomies. She has them right now, so she's having fun. It's really distracting. All right, moving along, we have, oh, here's another one of the Warzone miniatures I just put in this little bowl here. We have a Reaper, Dark Haven, Legends. Reaper is just like a company that makes these cheaper miniatures. I've gotten them before. I thought at first that they'd be worth more. I'm just like looking for where I put the miniature because I am disorganized. Where did I put it? It's somewhere. I'll find it later. I'll find it later. All right. Sorry guys for being disorganized. Like I said, I'm running short on time. I'm like having one person drama where you're like, oh, I gotta get everything done, and like the world around me is slow and normal pace. All right, next up is going to be 1996 fantasy rules. Right here, some kind of like rule sets. I've gotten these for like miniature games, for at least like the war ones where people make up their own rules and stuff. This is gonna be for some kind of fantasy game. It's like an older one. This ended up going for $28. Really cool art. It has like the skeleton person inside of their like armored skeleton horse. A lot of details in the art here. People do appreciate this kind of stuff. End up going for $28. All right, next up is going to be a Shadowrun book. It was interesting because I lost, like the original one wasn't in the correct box that I had at the storage unit. So then I end up being lucky and had like another copy. This copy is actually better condition, like way better condition, like double. The other one had like a little bit of dry liquid damage, just where like the pages were kind of like curly a little bit and stuff. But yeah, they're getting a better one. This ended up going for $24. Shadowrun Canyon Companion. This is going to be for Shadowrun RPG. This is like sci-fi, cyberpunk-ish type of thing. So yeah, people love Shadowrun. Shadowrun, like the older stuff, is super good. This is kind of like, people really do like this, and it is harder to find. But yeah, this ended up going for $24. This one's by FASFA. So yeah, people like it. They really do. All right, next up is going to be, I usually get more for the Shadowrun stuff. It's going to be a little pin right here. Put everything in this bowl. This is going to be Lady Hawk, a medieval fantasy. Maybe this is a movie. I actually don't know. I'm assuming this is a pin right here, like a pin back. This ended up, I think I got a bunch of these at like a thrift store. I walked in, found Netta found some stuff, and then I found like just like a bag of badges, pins, and we were doing super well with that kind of stuff. I think they were all like $1, or maybe like I got like 3 for $1 or something. So I just ended up getting like 50 or 60 of them. Did pretty well with them. This one sold for $8, but like nothing too fancy. But it was super easy just to grab them. They were all like movie and pop culture related. So I pick and chose which ones I thought would be more interesting to people. Maybe slightly lesser known stuff. But yeah, I'm not sure what Lady Hawk is. Probably embarrassing. Probably a movie that people like. $8 for that one. All right, moving along, we have this Muscle Machines. This is going to be a 29 Ford Model A, just one of these die-cast cars or trucks. This one's very like America themed. It just has like the stripes and the stars right there. Got a bunch of this police die-cast car stuff from a storage unit flipper. I also got other stuff from them. It was kind of just like a big, I call it a pallet, but it's not like a traditional pallet. It's kind of like they had a bunch of stuff stacked. I ended up messaging them to see if they wanted to sell it, and they said, yeah, like we did a bulk deal real quick. And then I saw the cars and the diecast cars as one of the draws for me. That was what I was caring about, but I got like other random stuff. This ended up selling for $8. So at first when we came back from that purchase, I was like, I don't know if that was a good one. It ended up actually being pretty good because this stuff is slowly selling. I want to say we spent like 150, 200, but you guys have seen me sell like a lot of these cars over and over and over and over again. Plus, sometimes I forget what the other stuff was we got from them. I listed like 90% of the pallets. I have a couple of weird things where I don't know what to do with them because I have this. It's like a collectible car, but there's alcohol inside. It's like a bourbon thing, And then I'm not going to sell, and I don't even think you can sell alcohol on eBay, so I would have to, like, basically do it in person and something like that. But I do see it selling for like 80, 90-ish when people are trying to risk, I guess, selling on eBay. I don't know the rules for the alcohol. I'm not going to mess with it. So if I'm misspeaking here, that's why I don't even want to mess with it, even if I could. But yeah, like I said, I saw other people attempting to sell it for 80, $90. I got like a, what was it, like a street sign, which I don't even know is legal, so I don't know what to do with that one. And then I got something else. Oh, it was like a military suitcase, but I don't know if it's legit because it has a bunch of like patches on it, and that is definitely out of my wheelhouse. I don't want to list something that I can't, or if I like misidentify it. So I have some big stuff from that purchase that it's just sitting in storage right now. All right, moving along. Sorry, that was a ramble. Got a bunch of fantastic miniatures. This is the part where I have to actually go back to the storage unit to get more because I thought a bin was in the house and it's not. It's at the storage unit. I just had like disorganized and misorganized them when I brought them back to the storage unit. All my fault, all my issue. But $68.87 for all the fantastic miniatures. Here's 3 more packs. This is from our highest number one customer buyer. It shows like how much money they spent. I'm not gonna let people know how much exactly they spent, but it was interesting when I looked at it yesterday to see like everything they bought from us. They're always buying like Napoleonic and these metal miniatures. So yeah, they bought another 8 of them. I only have 3 here for $68.80. Oh, I think some of them are over here too. Some of these packets, 87 cents. So they were also the ones that spent like $300 the other day and $200 a couple weeks ago. So we've been super lucky with that. Like it's kind of unreal. Like it's like stuff like I said before where you hope happens, and then when it's actually happening, it feels really good. It feels like listing all that stuff was great. I got it really cheap, and they're also super happy because they keep buying them and they keep thanking us in like feedback and in messages. They're like super thankful. All right, moving along, we have Unreal 2: The Awakening right here. I never played the Unreal game, so I know that's really weird being into video games. I'm kind of like into more my niche games. I know just played more games than me throughout like both of our lives, if that makes sense. So like I don't never played Unreal. This ended up going for $7.99. When I get into a video game, I get like super hyper focused on the one, which I'll talk about in a second because I've been focused on one recently, and then I just play it over and over and over. I literally just play it until I'm bored. Like when I'm like, and then sometimes like a game will just keep me in, and I just don't get bored. All right, next up is going to be War Machine Mercenaries token set. This is going to be for the other game. It was the Everblight of Legion. These are going to be tokens for the mercenaries. The mercenaries are going to be from, I think yeah, they are from the Hordes. Are they Hordes or War Machine? Oh, I don't know right now. I want to say it's. I actually don't know. All right, so it's either for the cyberpunk one or steampunk. Sorry, steampunk side of the game, or it's for the fantasy game. This particular faction, though, because they're called mercenaries, is you can actually, a lot of the figures could actually go into different factions, so they didn't have to be part of the main faction to be included in an army. And these are just little acrylic tokens or these plastic ones that they use for focus tokens, which show like who's using what actions. They'll have little spell things where you can use little dry erase markers to say if someone got like stunned or they're burning and or static field and stuff like that. So people love these tokens. They end up going for $10. I sell them almost as fast as the actual miniatures. Moving along, this was a crazy listing. Maybe if I have time, I'll put a little picture of it into the video. But I like to take my time with some of the stuff. Was it worth it? Probably. It took me like an hour to do it. I was just talking to Ned the whole time. But yeah, this is a lot of 598 Europa Marta Merker. I don't know how to say it. Marcia Merker. It's going to be like a board game in the Europa world. It's like a bunch of these older board games. I don't know too much about them. I started getting like bits and pieces for them. But yeah, they're going to be these really grindy. Some of the games I think you can't even complete just because they take that much time. People love the whole genre of all these types of war games. But yeah, this is in that particular realm. These are just the tokens. So these are going to be like infantry or maybe tanks or little bullet holes and stuff, like just a lot of little tokens for the game. But I like to make, when I have like tokens and stuff like that, I like to kind of show everyone all the tokens. And it did sell. This I listed like a week ago. This sold for $25. $25 an hour basically is how I see it. I enjoyed it, but obviously there's fees and stuff, so I don't get exactly $25. And technically I paid something for it, but it was in a bulk buy, so it's like if I divide it by everything, it's like I paid something, but like probably less than a quarter. All right, Next up is going to be a Boyd's Bear stuffed animal. Has this velvet kind of almost like a Santa Claus looking outfit right here. Got his little hats. We got a bunch of stuffed animals a bit ago when they were really cheap. They're not my favorite thing to list. Netta loved grabbing them back in the day, and so at one point I was like, I have too much to list. I still have like 3 or 4 bags, and then in this of unlisted stuffed animals, and then in our actual, I have like these 3 or 4 big bags where when I list them, I kind of just put them in the big bag. I still label them as like these big bag or whatever, but like after those are all gone, I don't think I want to deal with plush too much. Much more after that. They are kind of, at least for me, a little bit of a pain. I know a lot of people like them and that they're like easy to ship and store for other people. I'm just not a fan. All right, this ended up going for $18.72. That is a good quality teddy bear. I can tell why someone picked it up. Netta did pick out like good aesthetic looking plushies. All right, next up is going to be Stephen Barnes' Fire Dance. This is going to be, I think this is, yeah, it's science fiction. Yeah, it's going to be a science fiction book. Haven't read this one. Also, when I get all the military books and stuff, I'll get like sci-fi, I'll get fantasy, I'll just get like a bunch of different random kind of stuff. Sometimes I will put them in lots together with similar like science fiction, similar art, similar authors, similar year. I just kind of pick and choose and kind of mix and match and just kind of see how they all sell and what works and what doesn't. This was individual $6.39. Sometimes I just, like I said, I want to list them individually. All right, we're almost done here. I think we are. Next up, we have this MCM. This is going to be, it's almost like it's a glass or like a dish container. Almost looks like an ashtray, but I don't think it was. I don't think it's an ashtray. I'm just saying it kind of has that kind of look. I don't know if it's coming across the screen well enough, but it looks better in person. So I think I even had a hard time picturing this. 1 second, my cat's. Watch out! Hey, watch out! Watch out! No, you can't do that. Causing trouble. Cat was causing trouble. Sorry, guys. All right, trying to scratch stuff they're not supposed to. They're both going cuckoo. I see you guys. I don't know what you guys are up to. Like, what got into you guys? Got some energy? They're just like literally going crazy. It's been distracting. I do like watching them have fun though. It's just distracting for the video. But yeah, this is a bunch of glass, and then I got it in an auction house. She spent like $10 for a bunch of this stuff. It was like a smaller picture, and I'm like, oh no, that's gonna be. She's like, oh, this isn't too big. When I got there, was a bunch of. They were big. We've gone through most of it. I don't know if I would do glass again, just because like my storage system is a little not good for that. But yeah, this ended up going for, this was all in like 2 different bins. The glass was in 2 specific bins or barely go to. I'm not going to bump into them. But yeah, $18.72. Someone sent a message about that asking if it was like a certain type of material or glass. And I said, well, like when people ask me a question, I don't know. I just go, honestly, I have no clue. I got this at an auction. I looked up what you said, that like what material you were asking. I don't think this is that, but my true and honest answer is I really don't know. All right. I just thought that was interesting to talk about. All right. You don't always have to know all the answers. You can try. Like I tried to get the answer, but I'm like, I'm not a glass expert, so I won't know. All right. Next up is going to be these Christmas cards right here. Playing card deck. It's been a little bit since I sold playing card deck. I like to pick the unique ones. I collect playing card decks myself. I have like a collection of like 40 or 50 or so. I just like them. I like shuffling them. I just like grabbing the unique ones. I know other people like them. Other people use them for like poker, canasta, hearts. I know there's other stuff that people play. But yeah, this ended up going for $10 for a cute little Christmas themed one. Reindeer, snowman, elf, and Christmas tree are the different suits. All right, last thing. It's going to be a die-cast plane, a MiG-17 right here. Got a bunch of this one's like a metal one. Pretty good quality. The previous owner put like a little metal. I'm not sure if this is like a battery or a magnet. It looks like a battery, and I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe they were like magnetizing it to something, or maybe it was like it would go on something that they crafted and then the battery made it move. No idea why. Like other people's planes like this don't have that little thing in the bottom. Not a big deal. They've still been selling. It's still like a good quality die-cast plane. $16.84. I was excited to get those because normally like the cars and stuff are easier to find, and finding these like helicopters, planes, and other stuff is harder. All right, I'm really running short on time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video. Hope everyone had a good weekend.